So yeah, this video is not going to be my idea of a good time, simply because I have to be honest about how I've been wrestling with God about this. I've been wrestling with God for a few weeks about this. I think before the quarantine, and I believe it's because I was just going through a lot like everybody else, just trying to get a grip of what was going on in the world. Um, and nobody likes fearmongers. Nobody likes people who don't have entirely good news. So I'm just going to give you the images that I'm just going to give you exactly what happened. There's a situation that occurred when I went to visit my family last Easter. Not this very last one, it was 2019 Easter. I was up in Minnesota, and I've been told, which is why I've decided to reveal it and talk about it openly, through the Spirit, that there would be confirmation through other Christians. So I'm I'm looking for this to be like a message in a bottle put out to sea and will be collected as one of many on some seashore somewhere. That's how the internet is. So, and then, I pray for the Holy Spirit right now to guide me as to how to explain something I can't entirely fathom. And I've said this in a few videos. There's just some times you just have to go out on a leap of faith and just say, I'm going to tell you what I really said to God. I said this. I said, to what end? I said, to what end? Like, I'm going to imply something that I can't entirely interpret. I have to leave it to the Holy Spirit, meaning anybody who listens to it, to kind of do the math on what is happening, what I'm telling you, what I'm telling them. To what end? And it's because of the fact that he wants people to feel comfort. He wants people to know that he is in control. He wants people to see this and to hear of it and to say, I've been told this would happen. I'm not afraid because this was foretold. Now you have people who enter the spiritual world illegally who are able to foretell this. I've actually seen evidence of this, which is, of course, that other side's confirmation, kind of staring back with its teeth showing. Yeah, we know, and which is their way of saying, basically, they feel like because they foresee it, they have control over it, but that's not entirely true. Um, so, anyhow, before I go too deep into that rabbit hole, so I was in Minnesota. I had a very hard time in Minnesota. And it wasn't my family, it was I can only chalk it up to spiritual warfare. The first day we got there, the cold water, the water, it was Minnesota, so it's cold to us because we're from the south. The the tub water and every sink in the house would not give hot water. It only gave cold water, and which I think is its own message. But we had for 2 weeks we had to take cold showers because the maintenance people would not come and fix it, and the drain in the tub would not drain. Like the tub would just keep whatever was in there, and we had to try to manually get rid of it, and sometimes we couldn't. So we're talking about 2 weeks of one, two, three, four, like 6 people sharing a tub that didn't drain, taking cold showers, having to warm up water just to do dishes. It was a hell of a time. It was not fun. I work online. The internet was totally skew. It would tell me my students are in China, so it would tell me that I have a student in 2 hours when I knew it was in 5 hours, not 2 hours, and everything. It put me on Chicago time. Which I thought was Minnesota time, but my app from my company was all messed up. It was really devastating to see how things just didn't line up. I almost lost my job just because I went on vacation up there and I work from home. So and nothing that happened up there made sense, and everything broke my heart when I was up there. And if you have that Holy Spirit, and of late you can kind of enter cities and towns, and you know something's off. You can feel it. It's in the air. There's something wrong. And if you deal with the principality prayers and stuff, usually it's a signal from the Holy Spirit saying there's a fierce principality here, there's a stronghold here, and you're not welcomed. And so I mean, I'm not to get too deep with that because that's a different conversation. But anyway, and it sounds crazy. But like I said in a few videos ago, I've become a lot stronger spiritually because of saints that are online, like Tora Grace, who's live right now. She's live, uh, talking openly about how they receive the information from the Bible through the Holy Spirit. Just them talking it out, just talking it through, and you know the different people that they happen to be watching, looking at, reading, and it's very insightful. So anyhow, I went to leave and I even like kind of threw a fit with my family because I did not want to get back on the plane. I have problems with planes right now at that time, and I did not want to get back on the plane. I do have articles I want to show you where the magnetic field is actually weakening. I have articles that show this. Um, anyway, I go to get money out of the bank to have to give my family some money because they've hosted us. And as we passed by to go to the bank, I saw a guy sitting on a median, like on a bucket in the median, like on the middle of the road, and he had his hood on. And I thought, well, I'll have some money to give him. So if we get close enough to him, I'll give him money. But I'm not gonna lie, I was like, if we don't get close to him, I'm keeping the 50 and I'm putting it in my pocket. That's it, So we go to kind of sit at this light, and my sister and I are talking, and and we're deep in conversation about something she plans on doing or something like this, or an experience she had in the past. And I look over to roll down my window to give this guy money, and his hood is off now. And I know you don't have to believe me. You don't. You really don't. But the Holy Spirit, I got it. I have the Holy Spirit. And this guy looked me dead in the eye, like through my soul. I'm gonna have a picture here that's very similar to the way his eyes looked. He looked through me, and I'm telling you, I couldn't hear anything else except see this guy looking through me. He looked like the classic image of Christ. I know people say he's probably not, blue-eyed, Caucasian, all this. And believe me, I spent months thinking to myself, actually it's over a year now, that I've thought to myself, would he just appear as I assume, or would he really truly appear as he really is? Like, believe me, who looks upon the face of God and lives? Like, this is its own conversation. But I seriously, this is why in some of my videos I even say he's among people who are not royalty. He's not sitting in a White House or something. He's like among among the needy. He's not like he was when he was originally here, right? So I know this because I saw him sitting there. He looked right through me, and this is further confirmation. This was Jesus. First of all, I had a hard 2 weeks. I was on my wits end, and I was getting on this plane I did not want to get on, and there was so much spiritual warfare getting through this airport. I don't think I could have survived it without having a panic attack, but because I saw him sitting there on a bucket, he looked right through my soul, and all I couldn't keep my eyes off him. My eyes were fixed on his eyes. His eyes were fixed on me. Without even blinking or looking down, he went and brushed the side of his shoe as he stared at me. Tell me you don't know. What does the Holy Spirit tell you right now? If you see a guy that looks like Jesus sitting on a bucket, and he keeps his eyes on your eyes, and he brushes the side of his shoe off as the car is passing by, and keeping his eyes on you. Like, it gave me peace, first of all, because as we passed through the light, a complete peace passed through me. But I remember thinking, that's Luke 10. Like, brush the earth, the dust of this place off your feet. And if you know the rest of that, you understand what that message is. So I was just like, okay. I knew before I saw him, it was severe spiritual warfare, but that moment confirmed it. And getting to the airport, there's a lady there. When we were standing in line, we had to stand in line for 2 hours for this counter to open up, and there was a long line, and I was really, really early. And a lady had a stack of luggage, and she was talking to us, and as she went to move, her stack of luggage that was all lined up fell on my child. Some guard yelled over and through me, like he was yelling at me. I responded, he got mad at me. Like, there are so many things that happened in this airport. I felt like I was walking on eggshells. Like, I could not process why getting through this airport was so difficult. I saw what I considered an old friend, I got her attention. Turned out she's an enemy of my somebody in my family, and she tried to get me kicked off a plane because I was sharing a plane with her. Like, no joke. This was a difficult situation. She was talking to the flight attendants about me. Somebody on this plane that's really dangerous is what I heard her say, and she's pointing over at me, and I was like, I'm just going to pretend like I'm not listening to her. I was actually on the phone with my sister at the time because I got her attention. That was it. She was just mad at a family member, but I thought she was a friend, and I forgot there was an issue between her and family, and she tried to get me kicked off a plane. Like me and my kid, by the way, she didn't have her children, so that was that situation. But I remember, okay, this situation was so difficult that I spent the next year mulling over why that happened. Like why any of it occurred. And after I was talking to my sister Katie when she had left to take off to California, there was right before it was before or during the quarantines, uh, I had an unlocking. Because remember, Jesus can hack me. Because I said, Jesus can hack me. It's fine. And the unlocking was, the key word to the unlocking was uh, Blue Beam Project. And I'm not telling you that is the truth of it. What I'm telling you is what triggered my memory was I locked it away under the file Blue Beam Project. And doesn't mean it's true. What I'm saying is I have a memory where I was standing in front of my sister in front of a movie theater, and we were deep in conversation years ago, and this is Katie that I was standing in front of, and I saw a burning, what looked like something like almost like a, if you take a like a wad of paper and light it on fire. It looked like somebody tossed it in the air and it stayed midair and kind of appeared midair, and like I looked up to see what it was, to look behind her to see, as we're having this conversation, her back was facing the west. Sorry, her back was facing the west, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at this big light above her head. Like, who's doing that? And I could see the lighting up of this rock. This literally, there's fire around this rock, and you could see the crevices of the rock. I mean, it was lighting the rock up. It was almost like if you have a coal in a fire, like in a grill. The coal lights itself up, and you can see the ridges around the coal, and you can see like the details of the coal. It looked like that, but it was moving very slowly from the sky to the ground, and it just as I caught a glimpse of it, as it started to pass like over and through, was like probably like 20 miles away from where I was standing, maybe, because any further I don't think I would have been able to see it. As it started to pass over through the horizon where I couldn't see it anymore, I actually went to brace myself, and I was kind of freaking out and panicking, and I was like, Katie, look. And I went to go run to the other, like, well, it was probably like a few feet away from where we were. We could see the other side of the building, so I could show her, but it wasn't there. And I remember going, that looks so real. Like I could even see part of the light shining off my sister's head. Like I could see it reflecting on her hair. It was real. So I remember thinking, well, I'm standing in front of a movie theater. I'm just crazy. Or I was thinking, maybe it's a blue beam project. If anybody knows, there were these inventors who created this powerful, kind of like in a movie theater, a projection that could be shot into the sky, and the sky would act as a movie theater screen. And so they came out publicly because they sold it to our government, but they felt like, I'll actually link the video below, but they feel like they could use it against us. And that was many years ago, because I was a conspiracy theorist back in the day. But I didn't file this away because I wasn't a strong enough Christian, as maybe possibly the spirit wanted me to see something with my eyes, like it showed me something. And just like, when's the last time you've ever seen something you don't believe? Well, Jesus triggered that, because I remember thinking, I can't believe my eyes. I can't believe my eyes. And the last time I couldn't believe my eyes was when I was standing in front of my sister, but it was filed away under Blue Beam Project. Doesn't mean it's the Blue Beam Project is what's behind it, because I'm actually positive it's not, because when I was wrestling back and forth with the Holy Spirit, it was like, this is not about, you know, any kind of alert situation where people would believe me anyway. That's really not what this is about. This is about anybody who has faith or has the ability to interpret or discern can hear what the message is, because a few months ago I had a vision about this. It was when I was sleeping. It was like this big glass coming down over a throne, but I only had the imprint of it. I didn't have the full details. But then on we have Marcus Rogers, who came on who came on that next day and was like, I had a vision. There was this huge, clear glass that came over this throne, and there was this imprint having to do with I think he said the Trinity. He had all the details, and God let him stand outside of time, and I was just like, wow. I can confirm that that message is real because I just had the vision the the same day he did. And usually it'll wake you up in the middle of the night, usually around 3:30, which is means there's spiritual warfare or maybe a message. There's something to that. I notice other saints suffer from that. And so through prayer, through waking up, not being able to go back to sleep because the spirit's just up and awake, just trying to, wrestle, you know. And so Marcus Rogers made it clear that I don't have to have the message in its original form or the full message. That through fellowship and through putting this is what God showed me, here it is, I'll put it in a bottle, I'll seal it, I'll throw it out to the sea, and all of our stuff will collect somewhere. And this is this ocean of internet. And if one person hears it and recognize, oh, I just had a dream actually about something similar, or I had an experience like that, this is confirmation for them, so that they understand that when these things come to pass, they can relay the message to anybody they know, that I know that God actually has control of this. And when we are to see this, we understand that this is not against us, that this is something that God ordained. And so, even with the pandemic, this has happened like for the last 300 years to the day, or I should say to the year, for 300 years. So I think it was like 1718, 1818, 1918, and I think 2018, 2020. So there's about the same time every single century. That's when this pandemic stuff tends to happen. So it does happen in cycles, and there are patterns, and there are ways you can figure it out. And it's not a message I want to entirely. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. And I'm being real with you. I'm looking at this message here that says God didn't call me to be successful. He called me to be faithful. So that's what I'm relaying here. I had some type of vision that has only been unlocked recently to me and available to me. And the way that the Holy Spirit grappled it out was like, my family really wants to move back to Minnesota, my daughter and my husband. And I'm like, no, I can't go back. I can't have any of that on my feet. I can't. And then the Holy Spirit's like, you believe, you are convicted, you know you can't go back. You know you can't. Why won't you tell anybody else? And I don't really think it's about the place, to be honest with you. I mean, I've sat down and thought, well, maybe it means it's behind where Katie is now, somewhere in the west. Maybe Katie's in Cali, so maybe it's somewhere west of that. Maybe really is 20 miles from where I was standing in St. Paul, Minnesota. I don't know. I don't know the answer, and no time has been given, and I don't think it's supposed to be. I think this is one of those things where it's revealed to glorify God. It's revealed to say that this power, this clearly, if I'm, me and the Holy Spirit are going toe to toe. And last night he woke me up at 3:30 and was like, "This has got to be said." When it happens is in God's control. Where it takes place, and this might not be one. This might not be one event. This could be actually revealed through other people, through other saints, through the Holy Spirit, to be a multiple event thing in many different places. So I'm not entirely sure what it means. I'm going to leave it up to the people with the discernment and interpretation, gifts of interpretation, to kind of put it together, especially when Christians can come on and like have open conversation as to what they've seen or what the Holy Spirit says to them. But I understand the repercussions of bearing false witness against God. But I also know that not saying anything is equal to lying to a degree, because it means that I'm being asked to be faithful and to step out and to do what he's called me to say and do, and it's not revealed to me for my own benefit alone, like, and that's was part of my argument, like, what would it help anybody? And it's like, well, it would glorify him, because he revealed it to you. This wasn't something you want or made up or thought about. This is something revealed to you. This is the Holy Spirit, opening, unlocking places in my own brain. I totally forgot about this thing that happened, and now I know why. It's these are uncomfortable things, to say you saw with your own eyes something you can't really comprehend. Um, yeah, that's far cry from the atheist I used to be. I would never come out, and it's right up there with why I didn't reveal a lot of spiritual warfare to my husband until he personally encountered it, and I was like, yeah, that is real. That's been happening for years. Well, because I don't like the feeling. I don't want to be judged as crazy. So, and at the end of the day, I don't mind being a fool for Christ. I really don't. Um, Again, this might not be in my lifetime. I've not been told that usually one way or another, if I get to see the fruit or the outcome, he usually says yes or no. But this feels a little bit like I might not see it. I might. There's no confirmation that I will or will not see it. I was facing west when I saw him. Um, and I don't know why a whole country wouldn't suffer the consequences of something like that. I'm not sure, because again, I'm leaning upon my own understanding. I don't understand the whole image or the whole picture. But I'm not gonna not be faithful. I know, because it won't go away, and I'm not gonna bear false witness either. I'm not gonna. I think me saying that um, this didn't happen, or making a point not to say anything, it feels a lot like lying, because I did see it, and I did see Christ, and I know there are probably other people who've had this encounter, and they're not crazy. And I do know there's a peace that came, and I do know I think he saved me from having a nervous breakdown in an airport. Um, and I don't think it's a coincidence that after months of going, God, what does this all mean? Um, that it was absolutely revealed. So I again, I'm leaving this up for other people to discern. Um, if you've heard this anywhere else, I've not really actually looked up if other saints are talking about this, but yeah, there's also something about the asteroid belt. I'm not sure what that's about, but this is Linda of Christ is King forever. May God be with you.